would want businesses to run. They would want our lives to continue. And as you progress, count on us. Thank you, Frederick. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the singular pleasure to welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President, Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, to take us through the next phase. Thank you and welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Excellencies, our 5 governors from the Central Kenya region, led by the Chairperson of the Council of Governors, Mombi Waiguru, the Leader of Majority in the National Assembly, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, all senators from this region and members of the National Assembly, the Inspector General of Police and all officers under you, all officers of the National Government Administration, all our security personnel and leaders and everybody, good morning. God is good and all the time. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for creating time to come for this consultative forum from your respective stations. Those who have come all the way from Kiambu, from Kirinyaga, from Nyandarua, from Murang'a, and from Nyeri here, and all our senior government officials, led by Professor Kithure Kindiki, who have taken time to come for this consultative forum. I want to say thank you. I also want to seek your indulgence and apologize that we were late. We got caught up in bad weather. We would have wanted to start a bit earlier. Please forgive us. It's not our habit to keep officers waiting. I want to explain why we are here today. This consultative forum has been convened on instructions of President William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, arising from his concern on the level of alcohol, drug, and substance abuse in the country. The President is very clear in his mind that if remedial measures are not taken urgently, we can lose the entire country and indeed the productive age bracket of our people. And if things go the way they are going, we can lose an entire generation. The President is persuaded that he has a responsibility to restore order and normalcy by mitigating what is happening in the country. Why Nyeri? The statistics given to the President by NACADA shows that Central Kenya region, indeed the former Central Province, whose headquarters is in Nyeri here, is the most affected. Indeed, I can confirm because I come from this region and I'm a regular visitor, that we have a serious problem of illicit brews, second generation alcohol, bang, and other drugs. In fact, we are worried that serious drugs like heroin were things of towns like Nairobi. As we talk today, all sorts of drugs are in villages and small towns. The President therefore directed me to convene and chair this session for us to have a candid discussion, very candid discussion, on what ails this region and the country and what we need to do to bring back sanity and order. We have carefully invited all the stakeholders, starting with our leadership. We have all our governors, 5 of them here present today. All our senators, all our women reps, members of the National Assembly, speakers of county assembly, and the leaders of majority. These leaders enjoy direct mandate from the people. They are people's representatives. When our people suffer, it is their concern. When our people have a challenge, it is their concern. As people's representatives, they are here to engage with government officials for us to come up with a solution on how to save the next generation. And I really want to thank our elected leaders for being here. Again, we have officers of the National Government Administration, all the way from the regional commissioner, the county commissioners, the deputy county commissioners, and all assistant county commissioners. These are the people who on a daily basis interact and live with the people. They are the ones who understand what ails the people, what goes on. Again, they are the official and direct representatives of His Excellency the President at their respective jurisdiction. In very simplistic language, they are the eye and the ear of the President at their various jurisdictions. Again, we have the National Police Service, starting from the regional commander, the county commanders, the sub-county commanders, and all station commanders. Because in the police implementation strategy, the OCS, the Officer Commanding Police Stations, are the real people on the ground. They are all here. And of course, the leader of the National Police Service, the Inspector General of Police, is here. The new Deputy Inspector General of Police, the one who was appointed, is here. And a representative of the DIG for the Administration Police Service, and a representative of the DCI. The Principal Secretary for Interior, Raymond Omoro, is here. And all these people, the GAO officers plus the security officers, are under the leadership of Professor Kithule Kindiki, our Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Government Administration. That tells you how serious this forum is. It's an extremely serious forum. And this forum is a defining moment for this country because it will set the pace. The President has directed that from here, we'll move to Nakuru. From Nakuru, we'll move to Mombasa. From Mombasa, we'll go to Kakamega before we come to Embu. And the purpose of this meeting, again, is a candid discussion, so that by this afternoon we can come up with various recommendations and interventions on how to deal with this menace. I want to invite all of you today. After a few remarks from leaders, we'll open the session for plenary. I want to request you with humility to speak frankly and candidly and tell us what ails us and what needs to be done. For clarity, I want to assure uniformed officers that whatever you say here, no one can take it against you. I have instructed the Inspector General of Police, I have instructed the Principal Secretary Interior, that your utterances here in this forum are open so that you can help us. And no officer can take action against you for your views. Our government is a consultative government. We want to benefit from the experience and knowledge of the OCSs on the ground. We want to hear the Assistant County Commissioner telling us where is the problem. What can we do to deal with this problem that is threatening to wipe out an entire generation? I want to ask our elected leaders to speak today from their heart, to speak on behalf of the people they represent. Because one of the roles of our legislators is representation. On top of legislation and oversight, the most critical role that you play, from where I sit, is the one of representation. You must speak for your people, and you must be heard, and you must tell us as it is. Finally, I don't want this forum to be a blame game. And I want us to accept views that are given, not as criticism, but as making us better. Because when you go to a doctor, the diagnosis precedes prescription. Unless you know what aids you as a patient, unless the doctor can diagnose the problem, he cannot be able to do a prescription. So I want you to take it positively. If the role you play is put in perspective as one that is failing or contributing to the problem, I want you to take it positively, that we are trying to help each other to become better people, to become better officers. I don't want you to feel like this is a bashing forum, probably against the police, against the administration, against the elected leaders. No. We are trying to help each other. We are trying to help each other to get better. And therefore, if views are given here and you feel like they are bait on you, don't take it negatively. It is to help each other. That is why we have this forum. We have called NACADA here to tell us the extent of the problem and what we can do. We have called the Kenya Revenue Authority here. The Acting Commissioner General is here because we have a problem with ethanol. That is the ingredient that is making these cheap brews that are poisonous, and they are here. I want you to address them so that we know where the problem is. We have called the director of KEBS, the CEO of KEBS, the people responsible for checking the quality of these brews. They are here. I want you to speak candidly. Our 5 governors are here. They are the ones who license the bars. You need to address them because they are here. Where you feel they are not getting it right, please say so. And they are here with an open mind. The 5 of them are here because we want to have an open and honest conversation. From where the president sits and where I sit, whatever we can do to save the next generation, we have a responsibility. Whatever our police officers must do, they must do to save the next generation. And once we agree on what to do, it must be done. And the president is very clear. He's very clear. As of this morning, he has given me very clear instructions that I must tell you that anybody who stands in between the government and dealing with this menace must give way. Must give way. So as an OCS, you must know, from now, it's not business as usual. From my training as a uniformed officer many years ago, it was the case then, it is still the case today. A police station is as good as a station commander. A police station is as rotten as a station commander. If crime rate is high in your station, you are the problem. If crime is brought down, credit goes to you. It all boils down to leadership. So, as we go forward, when I was working then, I don't know whether that is still the case. maybe things have changed. We used to have a weekly return on bank and Changa return. And that used to inform us on who is working and who is not. So we are saying, as we agree on what to do, this is a new beginning, and maybe in the afternoon we'll make the various remarks that we want to make. But I want to tell you that this matter has received attention at the highest level of government at the presidency. President William Ruto has the mandate of the people of Kenya to do the right things and to follow the rule of law. He expects all of us, from me downwards, his deputy, the CS, the IG, all of you up to station commander, up to the ACC, to help him govern and help the people. It cannot be that us who have been given that responsibility can be involved in activities that would undermine his government and his leadership. And one of the ways of undermining the president is being in cohort with the people who are selling drugs, is protecting people who are selling alcohol that is killing our people, is by going to collect commissions and tokens every week from drug peddlers. The president has told me to tell you that it will not happen at all. And after this meeting, it will not be business as usual. We must do the right thing. We must live up to the oath of office. And we must implement the law. And we must secure the country. And we cannot be part and parcel of the criminal syndicate of selling drugs to our children, of selling illicit brews to our children. That, the president has told me to tell you, it cannot happen. So as we go forward, we'll agree on the mechanisms, on how to work, on what to do, starting from this central Kenya region, to set the pace for the rest of the country. So we have met here. This has been the headquarters of our region for many years. We have met here today so that we agree by the end of the day what we need to do. But I want to say that we must sort out this thing once and for all. What we need to do at the level of the president, we shall do. What you people need to do, you shall do. And we shall have some synergy. And finally, I want to plead with our officers, our governors, our elected leaders, all of us, we are parents. These drugs, your own children are not immune. They can get involved. So as an OCS, as you collect money to protect people who are selling drugs, please know that the same drugs can end up with your own child. As a governor, if you allow activities that enhances alcoholism and drug abuse, please know that your own child or that of your sister can get into the same situation. So let us agree, first and foremost, we are all parents. Other than what we do, other than the responsibilities we have been given, know that you are also parents. You have a responsibility as you protect other people's children to know that you as too can get caught up with this situation. And that is the truth. And we have seen it. I have gone to many forums and we talk about this situation. I see men look down because they are suffering silently. They have a problem in their own homes. Their own children are in drugs. Their own children are alcoholics. But they keep down, they keep quiet in shame because of the stigma. So let us, as we engage today, agree that we are parents, that we have children that are related to us, Even if you don't want to take care of other people's children, please know that you as are candidates, potential candidates for getting into the situation that we are having in this region. Kwa hivyo mimi ningetaka nimalizie hapo na niseme mimi nikiwa kiongozi wa Kenya nimetoka eneo hili, ni aibu sana kwangu. Sana. Naibika. Kila siku nikikutana na wamama, ile maneno wananiambia ninashindwa la kusema. Niambia bwana Deputy President, tulichagua wewe na William Ruto, watoto wetu wanamalizwa na pombe na mumenyamaza. I am also challenged as a leader for this country and from this region. When I see what is happening, I talk to parents, I talk to mothers, I talk to young wives. Vijana wetu wameisha. Kwa kitanda, instead ya kulala kwa kitanda juu, wanalala chini. Wamama ndio wanalala juu peke yao. Ukienda shule zetu zote, the classrooms are empty. Hata hii magavana ECD mnashida mkiweka pesa is nonsense. There are no children. Because this ethanol inakuja ikiwa mixed, inamaliza all the systems kwa hii vijana wetu. All the batteries are down. Hata ikiwekwa charge, they cannot pick. So, our women are crying. And that is the truth. You know, many people don't want to say the truth. Me, I'm a truthful man. I say the truth. The truth. It's a bad situation. And this cannot happen. Leaders, those of us who have been elected, Madam Waiguru, Governor Kahiga, Badirisha, Kangata, Wamatangi, what shall we tell our people? Where are we? What shall we tell the people who elected us? When we meet them, what shall we tell them? When our children got wiped out by alcohol and drugs, where were we? We'll have nothing to say. Dede Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wa, Madhenge, mutaambia watu nini? Kami, mutaambia watu nini? So please, this forum here today, let us be open and candid. Speak from your heart. Let us know what ails us. What is it must we do? We have the support of the president and he is waiting. He has told me by 7 p.m. today, he wants a report. He cannot accept this situation. He cannot. Neither can I. And none of you should accept this situation. It is not right. It is not fair. It is not acceptable. We must deal with it as leaders. And we are here, we are all leaders. As an OCS, you are a leader. That's why you have been given that responsibility. As an ACC, you are a leader. County Commissioner, wewe ni kiongozi. DCIO, wewe ni kiongozi. Sisi ni viongozi. Na juu ya hayo, sisi ni wazazi. Tafadhalini, tukubaliane, tutafute suluhisho. Na tukipata, tuende tufanye kazi. It is possible. It is doable. It is something that we can do. With those very remarks, asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
Thank you, Excellency. Let's give His Excellency another round of applause as he takes his seat. Thank you, Excellency. With your kind permission, may we all be seated, ladies and gentlemen. At this juncture, following your remarks and directive, Your Excellency, we will have a host of representations, or rather presentations, from as well as the National Police Services. All presentations will follow in that order, as discussed and agreed earlier, after which we will then hear remarks from other leaders and stakeholders present. Your Excellency, sir, this session will be moderated by the Central Region Commissioner, Frederick Shisie. On the side of studio, if we may kindly have presentations on our screens, we're going to be led by the team from NACADA through that presentation. After that, again, just to take us through that order, we'll have Mulika Pombe Initiative We'll also have the presentation from the Ministry of Education. We'll have the presentation from Children's Services, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI. We'll also have a presentation from the National Police Service. Team from NACADA, kindly, we are ready.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Gachagua, all governors present, our CS, Interior, all protocols observed. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amos Waroi. I'm the Central Regional Manager, NACADA, and I've been requested to make this presentation, which is a presentation jointly prepared by the NACADA and the Central Regional Commissioner's Office. In this presentation, we are going to highlight the alcohol and drug status in the Central Region. We're also going to assess the strategies employed to counter the alcohol abuse in the region. We look at how to develop a sustainable strategy for effective crackdown of illicit brews and counterfeit alcohol in the region. We're also going to look at how to mainstream alcohol control at the community level, because we are saying we want to involve everybody in this campaign. And we're also going to look at how to facilitate rehabilitation of persons affected by alcohol and drug abuse in the region. As we are aware that our country, we have a big challenge, which has been very aptly put by His Excellency, the Deputy President, of the challenge of the alcohol and drugs problem all over the country and in our particular region. And out of this, we have seen a lot of negative effects, which include, of course, alcoholism, which has resulted to breakage of families, increase in crime, mental illnesses, suicide, low productivity at workplaces, and very poor academic performance, and low enrollment in our schools, and issues of indiscipline in our institutions of learning. Central Kenya, like we are aware and admit, and that's why we're here, has been gravely affected with our young people wasting in the cheap liquor and also suffering from the related effects. And to this juncture, Your Excellency, we want to commend you for organizing this forum and leading us in discussing and looking at ways and strategies to address this problem. And we also thank the leadership of the Central Region, who are all present here, for having come forward to support this initiative, and we believe we'll get somewhere by the end of the day like you have guided us. Maybe here we can have a very quick look at the statistics. And these statistics, we have drawn them from a national survey which was mounted by NACADA in November, December last year. So these are very latest statistics. Actually, this survey has not been officially launched, but as you allowed us to share this because they're very little and very informative. At the national level, we see the number of persons who use at least one substance of abuse. Here we are talking of everything: alcohol, tobacco, cat, bang, and everyone. We are studying at 17.5% of the Kenyan population. I'm sure when you translate those numbers to a population, you can see these are very big and worrying numbers. But I want to maybe concentrate on Central, which is the third on the column on the far left, where we are saying at least 18.4% of our population in our region, they are using at least one substance of abuse. In that order, alcohol is leading at 12.8%. This is the population of the 5 counties of our Central Region. We are followed with tobacco, which is at 11.9. Then we have cat, and here cat, we are talking of both Mira and Mogoka at 1.8. And cannabis is also catching up at 1.3. Maybe a point of note is that if we look at the national statistics, we can see on alcohol, Central, we are even above the national statistic, which is 9.7. So we are far and above what is the national statistics. The same case is happening with the tobacco, where we are at 11.9, whereas national is at 8.5. And the others, they are slightly slower. Next slide. From the survey, Portable spirits, or what you call second generation alcohol, is our biggest problem in the region. We are leading in the country at 4.1%, followed by Coast, Rift Valley, and the other. Whereas the national percentage is 2.5. So Central, we almost double of the national percentage. And maybe to mention that male are the ones leading when we segregate data between male and female. On alcohol use by age category in the region, we have our youth who are based, actually they are not the youth because the constitution defines the youth somebody from 18 years to 35. We have as young as 15 to 24 years, we have about 6% of our children who are already using these substances, and these mainly alcohol. So here we are talking of primary school going children and also secondary school. Then 25 to 35 years, these are our youth who have maybe finished secondary school. They are at 14.1%, meaning there's a bulk of the population. And our overall regional statistics on this starts at 12.8%. The summary of the current use of drugs and substance in the region starts at this, whereby the population affected by alcohol is almost slightly below 500,000 of our population. Tobacco is also down there at 409, followed by cat, 61, cannabis, 45, prescription drug, 8.8, which is also another concern. It's an emerging trend which is very worrying. Then multiple substances. This is somebody who is using more than one substance of abuse. They are at 269,788. Then somebody who is using at least one substance, they're at 635,000. Maybe to comment on those findings is to say that the prevalence of the substance abuse, alcohol and tobacco in Central region is higher than the national statistics. We're also saying that the region is largely affected by use and the increase of portable spirits that are extremely potent. Portable spirit is our biggest challenge, what you call the second generation alcohol. There's a worrying burden of alcohol and tobacco addiction in the region that transcends across all ages, going by the statistics. And the age mostly affected, we saw, is from 25 to 35 years. The findings show evidence of early initiation to drugs and substance use in the region. We have cases where we find that children who are young as 8 years, they are using these substances. Data from the region shows that the age between 25 and 35 years is the most affected, and as well as the biggest burden of addiction. The region is emerging as a key market for the hard drugs, just like you mentioned, Your Excellency, including heroin, especially in counties like Kiambu, Nyeri, and Murang'a. We are now finding heroin in these counties, and not only in big towns, even in the rural areas. Actually, out of these, we have a methadone-assisted center in Kiambu, in Karuri Sub-County Hospital, to assist those people already addicted to this and win out the problem of heroin. This table also represents the distribution of the alcoholic outlets within our counties. In Murang'a, this data we got it through the GAO. We have about 451 bars and restaurants. Bars and restaurants is another big challenge we have in our region, Your Excellency, because bar and restaurant license is one of the most abused licenses. People open early in the morning until late in the night. And when you look at the definition of bar and restaurant by the law, sometimes they don't qualify. We always say, and RC will attest to this, that you see everybody is applying for this license. And bar and restaurant means you should have a bar and a kitchen, you know, it's like a hotel environment. But utapata kichwa ya mbuzi pale nje, inachemuka na soup, na mtu ndani ni bar. So that it is licensed as the bar as restaurants, which we don't think it should qualify. The ordinary bars, there are 2093, wines and spirit 189, giving a total of 2,733 outlets in Murang'a County. In Nyeri, we have 578 bar and restaurants, 1425 bars, 65 wine and spirits, and 20, adding up to 2068. Here, when you talk of wine and spirits, we are combining both the off-license and even the distributors wine license shops. Nyandarua, we have 147 bar and restaurants. Bars, there are 934, 108 wine and spirits, and 1,089 is the total of alcoholic outlets in the county. Kiambu, It has 1,044 bars and restaurants, 2,088 17 bars, 1,187 wines and spirits, making a total of 5,048 outlets within the county. Kirinyaga, we have 76 bars and restaurants, 1,648 bars, 191 wine and spirits, giving us a total of 1,915. In total, in summary, the outlets, alcoholic outlets in Central Region, they are almost 13,000 because there are 12,953. It's only less 7 to make it 30,000. I think these statistics should be worrying and should inform some of the decisions we are going to make. We also try to highlight the hotspots where we also have the illicit brews in the respective counties. And maybe I don't have to go through all these, Your Excellency, if you allow. But these are the areas where the Ngao are always cracking down on illicit brews. And I'm sure the leaders from here are familiar with these areas in their region because this is what happens in every corner. We have other places like Muranga. The Chania River is the side of up there near the neighbor Kiabu. And this is a big problem, the Makwa. So these guys brew on this side of the river and the other side of Makwa. Then Nyeri, we normally have it along Chania. Nyandarua. Nyandarua is a unique case, Your Excellency, because we don't have a lot of brews being produced there. The brews produced mainly in Nyandarua, they are consumed, they come from outside the county. So Nyandarua imports from outside, and they mainly import from Roriani and Laikipia West and parts of Nakuru County due to the proximity. Like I mentioned, Kiambu, we have a big problem along Chania River, the Makwa area up there. And this has been a big problem all through, but I believe we'll find a way out of it. And we also have other areas like Gatondo South, areas of Upper Juja, Gashororo, all those areas. And in Kirinyaga, we have the obvious culprits, and these are mainly villages within the Mwea part of it, in our rice plantations. And yeah, but a lot is being done on this. So basically that's the statistics. So what are the challenges? What have we identified? The challenges which we have identified in Central Region in relation to alcohol and drug abuse, the problem, we know what it is. What is causing this? We mainly attribute this to a number of factors. One, it is the availability of cheap liquor due to increase of alcoholic outlets and the cost of the alcohol. The alcohol being sold in our region, Your Excellency, when KRA will be making the representation, when you factor the cost of producing a 250 ml bottle of alcohol, we know having paid all taxes and met the production cost, it should not be less than 250 per piece. But in Central Region, in some places, you'll even find alcohol being sold for 150, the same bottle. That means there's a shortcut which has been bypassed to ensure that that is happening. Then we also have challenges with enforcement. And sometimes here is an issue of uncoordinated enforcement between the national government and the county government. Then uncoordinated licensing regime of the alcoholic outlets. Here the challenges, because you said, you asked us to speak the truth as it is. You realize that the national government officers sometimes in places, they are not involved in the licensing committees at the sub-county by the county government. So the county government might license some premises which, in relation to security, where the OCS is supposed to give guidance, or issues of the public interest where the DCC maybe can give a word, they are not involved, and that's why we find maybe even the proliferation of the outlets. Then another challenge you have found is that we have a permissive society where in Central Region nowadays, it's becoming a trend that it's accepted that alcohol must be taken everywhere. You find people going to attend a burial in the morning, and even before they go to collect the body, they have passed through a place to take alcohol before they even. So that permissiveness is also another factor. Then our initiation to alcohol and drugs, because we are even doing these things in our homes. So even our children, they are also learning and they try to test quite early. There's also an aspect of poor parenting where many parents are not responsible. They are not taking their parenting responsibility as expected. Then we also have availability of highly potent substances of abuse, just like we demonstrated earlier. Then inadequate prevention, care, and support programs in the community, where the community is also supposed to have its own mechanism to protect and ensure that they have alcohol and drugs-free communities within themselves. Then we also have a challenge of lack of affordable treatment and rehabilitation service facilities. And allow me to mention here, sir, that in Central Region, it's only Nyeri County, and we want to once again thank you, the Governor Nyeri County, who have a public rehabilitation facility in partnership with NACADA. So, as we said, we also encourage the other counties to ensure that we have at least one rehab in every county so that we can rehabilitate our young people who need those services. In a summary form, the challenge, we can summarize it in, we look at the cause and the manifestation. The issue of licensing and enforcement, it is evidenced by the mushrooming of alcoholic outlets in undesignated areas, including residential areas, including inside the villages where they should not be licensed. We also have bars operating without licenses. And like we said, Your Excellency, if a bar can operate without a license, it means there's somebody who is maybe protecting it to operate. Then you also have the issue of abuse of licenses, the terms and conditions of license, like the example I was giving of a bar and restaurant. You find a place is not ideal, or they are not operating according to the terms and conditions of license. Then we have sale of substandard alcohol in unhealthy conditions, outlets operating beyond the stipulated hours, and also another big challenge you have here is wine and spirits dispensing on site, because wine and spirits are strictly supposed to be taken away. But you'll find there's a jug there and some water and some glasses. That 250 ml, two people can buy, they share, they take it there, they fresh, they call it fresh, and they go. That's also another big problem we are facing in the region. There's also another problem of corruption, where people pay protection fees. That's why you find bars which don't have licenses they're operating. You have issues of bribes to avoid closure and arrest. And another challenge, which is very also a big concern, is leakage of information during crackdowns. We organize a very good crackdown, but by the time you hit the ground, you find people have closed and have gone away because somebody among us is also sharing that information. Prosecution charges. Here we have cases taking too long to conclude. That's at the judiciary. Then exhibit samples analysis results taking too long to analyze at government chemists, because they always sent back to Nairobi. Then you have lenient charges and sentences and fines. And so these guys end up coming back. Anapelekwa kotini na analipa fine kidogo, and then they are back to the business. We also have a big challenge of the uncontrolled trade in ethanol and powdered beer. Here we have diversion of ethanol to manufacture substandard and counterfeit alcohol. Because most of the people who are doing this substandard and very low and lowly priced alcohol, they are mainly counterfeits. Then we have the challenge of portable spirits maybe controlling the market, illegal manufacturers, and availability of powdered beer to concoct illicit brews. But this challenge, I believe, has been addressed, and KEBS maybe will shed more light. Abuse of prescription drugs. Like we had said in the survey, we have another challenge now. Prescription drugs is also another big challenge. And how it's coming about, maybe if I may enumerate a bit, is like you find somebody has been chewing miraa a lot. And we know miraa is a stimulant. So you want some time to calm down, so you go look for a prescription drug, which is a depressant. So this is also another big problem which is creeping around in our region. Shisha, as we all know, shisha was banned by the Ministry of Health, but we also have it in popular apartments and also in homes and some kind of exclusive clubs. You find it there. This is another challenge we have in our region. Next slide. So out of all that, we also sat and asked ourselves, what can be done? What is the solution to these problems? And one, we are saying on issues of licensing, we are recommending formation of alcohol, county-based intergovernmental committees on alcohol and drug abuse control. A committee bringing on board the county government, the national government, and all the players. And this committee should ensure that they monitor the issues of alcohol and will be making very, very frequent reports on the progress and the challenges. Then there's also another recommendation that we amend the regulation of the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act, ADCA, what is popularly known as Motudo Law, to include and provide for a formula to determine the maximum number of alcoholic outlets to be licensed in a given area based on population density. This one was envisaged in the Act. Actually, I think Section 12A of Alcoholic Drinks Control Act has that bearing. But there's no formula such that we say like a place like Nyeri Town, with a given population, how many outlets can we allow? What's the maximum number? So I think that's something which we can ask our members of parliament to help us in that. Then counties, we're also recommending that counties to invest in research, prevention, and treatment and rehabilitation program from the liquor licensing fees. Remember, liquor licensing now is a devolved function. And Your Excellency, the challenge you have been facing in most counties and not only Central Region, liquor licensing fees are being paid into the ordinary county revenue fees. Whereas the Alcoholic Drinks Control had established a fund, where this money is supposed to go into a fund, which is supposed to support all alcohol control and rehabilitation programs. So that's another request we are putting across and a strong recommendation to the county governments. Then we're also recommending that we have a coordinated and multidisciplinary license regime of the alcoholic outlets at the county, starting at the sub-county, where the national government, GA officers, and the police are also members of that committee. We are also encouraging and recommending that regular surveillance and enforcement continue. This has been happening all along, and we would like to bring on board both the national government and the county government, so that it does not look like it's a one side of government working. We bring everyone together. There's also another aspect of the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act. We are proposing that the county governments, because they have their liquor laws, they amend and they align their laws to the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act. And through that, they will now be able to establish the fund we are talking about. And Your Excellency, we believe if we have these funds with the counties will not be having challenges with resources to address issues of alcohol, because the funds will be ring-fenced and they only be used to address issues of alcohol control. We're also encouraging enhancement of community participation in the control of alcohol and drugs, including licensing. Here what we are talking about is even public participation in the licensing regime. Let the locals say in our given village we only want 1 or 2 bars, because they are the same people who we expect to come to these bars. We involve the community, and that way we believe it's going to ensure that they'll also have a say in what's happening within their communities. Then the issue of implementation of the 300 meters rules towards protecting children and persons below 18 years to alcohol. There's a provision of the Alcoholic Drinks Control Act, but sometimes you find a bar which is almost next to a primary school, and you wonder how it was licensed, whereas the national law prohibits that. Then the issue of standardizing and enforcing hours of operation for alcoholic outlets. We are saying let these laws, the respective county laws, hours of operation, be in tandem with the national law, because the national law, of course, takes precedent to the county laws. Establishment of a government chemist branch in Nyeri to facilitate fast analysis of samples for efficient prosecution. We have been having a lot of delays, and I can believe our security officers can attest to this. When maybe they get samples, and for you to have a good case, there must be the analysis results. Government chemist in Nairobi is overwhelmed, and it takes too long to conclude such cases. So it was recommended if we could have one here in Nyeri to serve the entire region, it will help in fast-tracking the prosecution of such cases. Another key agency which Your Excellency we miss in our region, who is a very key partner, is the Anti-Counterfeit Agency. We don't have them here in Nyeri or in the Central Region. So it's recommended that we also have them represented in the region so that they can help us in fighting with the counterfeit products. Then in cognizance of the challenge, because we are saying everywhere we have a problem, we are proposing that as a start-off, that the national government could maybe sponsor at least 20 persons who need rehabilitation from every county as a start-off, so that we can have a way to start off this program. Then to ensure sustainability and accessibility is what I had mentioned earlier. We are recommending that each county should start making provisions at least to open a rehab center maybe by end of the year in every county, so that we can have our people accessing these services which they badly deserve. Maybe to mention on this is that in Central Region, most of our rehabs are private. We have about 58 of them, and most of them are actually in Kiambu County. Kiambu, we have about 42 of them, and they are private. And the minimum charge they are charging is 50,000 per month, and one is 90 days program. So you can imagine a family who have been suffering with somebody who has given them trouble, paying 150,000. It's almost impossible. So that's why we're encouraging county governments to help us in this. Then we're also recommending that through the NGAOs and the counties, the enforcement teams, we create a database of persons who have been prosecuted or involved in issues of alcohol and drug abuse, so that as they are taken to court, we can tell the court these are a serious offender, and maybe the sentences may be deeper, because the courts usually say when you just bring him and you charge with this, we don't tell us he has been doing it, they give them very lenient sentences. And then the aspect of participation of all stakeholders in this war, religious leaders, our parents, CBOs, teachers, and everybody else in the campaign. And we believe once you do that, we'll have contributed to this problem. And I think I want to stop there. NACADA has a helpline, a toll-free number which someone can call for counseling, and it's 1192. And I thank you for your time and your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Waroi. Let us give him another round of applause. Thank you very much for giving us that enlightening exposure. I think it will form a very critical basis of our conversation when we come to the plenary. I now take this opportunity to invite a presenter who is going to share with us the Mulika concept. Karibu. As she comes, let us give her a round of applause. Because in this fight, we need partnership and coordination.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, and all other protocols observed. Good morning. Good. Now, my name is Grace Wanjohi, and I am the Executive Director of Mulika Institute for Social Accountability. Our flagship system is the one that is being called Mulika. If we could have the video, please.
Ukiona, sema. Ukisikia, sema. Ukishuku, sema. Ripoti tatizo lolote la usalama kupitia SMS 988. Namba yako haitaonekana. Ujumbe huu hautakugharimu chochote. Weka akaunti yako na mtaa ambapo uhalifu unatendeka. Mulika uhalifu. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Wizara ya Mambo ya Ndani na Uratibu wa Serikali ya Kitaifa.
Now, I think most of you have seen that, and you may have heard it in the radio. But the biggest question here is, ukiona, ukisikia, ukishuku, useme. Useme wapi? Useme aje? That is the biggest question, isn't it? So Mulika, this system, is in its 7th year of implementation with the Ministry of Interior. We were piloting. We have taken quite a bit of time because we lost elections for 2017, and then there was Corona, and then there was another election. So the process took longer than usual, but this project has gone through ideation, research and development, proof of concept, and now we want to scale. So we are testing and positioning for scale, and hopefully it will be with the Mulika Pombe project. So without further ado, I want to be able to demonstrate this, so I'll go very quickly. So this is how the system is working. The members of the public have been given digital platforms in which they can communicate to their service providers and their security managers. So the main objective of this platform is to facilitate citizen participation in national security and service delivery. So that is why it is Mulika Uhalifu. But again, we began with Pombe, I'll come to that. So the public, for the purposes of this presentation, I will dwell on the SMS 988, which is the preferred modem for security people to receive, and it is also the preferred modem for the public. So from the comfort of their homes, free of charge, the public are sending information, and when they send this information using the 988 or any other medium, it hits the terminals of the security managers connected to it already. I know the regional commissioner is on, and his team, the county commissioners, and we have connected some of the sub-county commissioners. So what this does is that the minute, within 4 seconds, this information is relayed to their terminals, and they receive a text branded Mulika. So they do not know who has sent that message. Because a lot of the times we say that hatutaki maswali ya polisi, sindio? So here there is no maswali ya polisi because you are anonymous. And as soon as they get that, they have a team ready to act. So I'd like all of you please to take your phones out, because it says security begins with you and I, isn't it? And now, here we are, the eyes and the ears of the government, because without public knowledge, they would not arrest crime. And we say the public knows everything. And the public also knows who is the culprit, who is the officer aiding this menace, what happens, what time, the public know everything. So let's take our phones very quickly. And I want you to send information. It is county-based. No county receives for the other. So I want, if you have information right now on any den of Changa that you know, or any den of illicit brew, or any brewer or criminal, please let's just try that so that I can be able to demonstrate further. So the SMS number 988 is free of charge. And the text will go this way. You will go like you are typing a text and you're sending to 988, and you will be able to say, if it is Kerenyaga, you say Kerenyaga, this and this is happening. I will have, because the RC is here, I will have him read just 1 or 2 messages that he's been receiving over time. So we are not having transmission this morning because we don't want the powers that be to receive irrelevant information. So once it goes through, just one person just lift up their hands so that I can say that I can at least know that we are together, then I can go to the next one. So you are sending to number 988 and it is anonymous. So right now the text is being received. They're coming already. Can you see RC? Okay, so I'm going to have him read when he comes later. But if you have one of those SMSs, there is a reference number. This reference number is going to take you to the tracker. If we could have the tracker, the slide with the tracker, the tracking system. There's the one that was online. Yes, there we are. So you are anonymous, you have texting information, and then this is the loop back, the tracker. Because the tracker is going to enable you, the reporter, to get feedback anonymously. And why we are getting feedback anonymously is because we want to know what happened, but we don't want to be recognized. We don't want to be victimized. So there where you're seeing reference is where you put your reference number, and then you will see what is the response from the officers. And if you want, you can register with just your email, and you will be able to chat with this officer anonymously. And any officer will have a tag. It can even be the OCS, it can be the CS, it can be the PS, and you will see them and interact with them. And the reason is that a lot of the times when we are talking about crime, we are having very low reporting of crime from the public. It is understandable, the public apathy, because we say, ata ukireport, where does it go? But now here with data and leveraging on technology, we are able to get data and distribute it to a multi-agency of teams. So no agency is going to have a monopoly of information from the public. That enhances accountability and transparency. Because I know we say sometimes, maneno yetu inafichika. So here there is no kufichika, the cat is out of the bag. Here we have all the agencies that are supposed to be receiving, and we are also going to be sharing data with other stakeholders, with the governors, with NACADA, so that we are all together and we all do our part. So Mulika essentially is a monitoring and reporting system. So with the tracker, we are going further. We are going further and putting performance as a key performance indicator for the officer. Because if, for example, we have the service charter of the police, if we put it in there and classify it, so the managers here will be able to see that this issue was reported at this time and it was not handled the way it is supposed to be handled, what is happening. So that also will create interventions in the way that interventions that are relevant, and it is for all of that. So why this is a very interesting forum, because county-based, being led by the county commissioner, it was deliberate because we wanted them to actually take it up, manage it, and be able to incorporate this platform into their protocols. So yes, we began with Nakuru, but as you know, a digital platform, you can text from anywhere. So we have linked 47 county commissioners, the regional commissioners, and it is just because of funding. We'll discuss that when we come to scaling in-house, but we can connect up to, we would want to even connect up to maybe 120,000 officers. So because when you're talking about, when you're talking about security concern, it is also service delivery. So that is how we have come. Now, yeah, so the uniqueness is that the unprecedented acceptance. We have received over 500,000 issues. And when we say again, ukiona sema, ukisikia sema, ukishuku sema, I think we should expect about 1 million issues a day, seeing as there are more than 35 government functions, and also even the ones that are relating to Pompe and service delivery. So the public also are with us because, again, now there is the problem is not usually the information that we get from the public. The challenge here has been the responders, because Kenyans are innovative. There are very many systems out there. Kenyans do speak. It is where that information is going that is tricky. So when we have the responders taking charge of the information and saying we want to receive, and oh boy, don't they receive. They receive so much, even wrote in their own departments. They receive a lot of reports with officer misbehavior, and they have been able to sort it out. Because we all know that, again, as the public, we allege misbehavior. So these are the people that have taken charge. I want to also recognize, as I recognize the county commissioners, I want to recognize Bwana Nganatha, that is the county commissioner, I think he's now in Kiambu. He's the one who brought this and risked it 7 years ago and says, let's try it. So I want to appreciate that officer. And so with the other officers that joined in, it was not by force. They have joined in, and then later it was when later that Harambee House came in. So that is what I have. I'm going very quickly. We were given about 10 minutes to go. So where are we at with this platform? So we are willing, we want to expand it. We have done everything, so now it's only expansion. And that expansion will mean that we want to connect, we want to be able to handle 35 million Kenyans. That means that at your disposal, the government has over 35 million pairs of eyes as CCTV cameras that you are not installing, you are not paying for. They are on 24 hours and they are everywhere, because the public is your biggest ally when it comes to this, to the fight of this menace. And we also want to target 120 officers. I know these numbers are sounding a lot, but technology, again, everybody can be able everybody can be able to do to SMS at the same time, and the system will receive. And then also we want to target about 200,000 reports. So that's what we have for you. I thank you for listening. Now, sorry? Okay. So, yeah, so the biggest challenge, just one of the biggest challenge we have is that the public do not yet know of this platform. So we would want to expand it and see that the officers are sensitized adequately, and also the public. I thank you very much. And oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to mention that I am very proud because I am from Nyeri, and this product is actually also going to now be from Nyeri. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us give her another round of applause. In fact, as I was sitting there, I've received 92 messages on various issues pertaining to Central Region. And normally what we do, I receive and channel them to the respective county commissioners for action. And this has been very effective. Our next presentation is going to be from the Ministry of Education, and I want to request that you take 5 minutes. Karibu, Madam Sabina. She is the Regional Director, Basic Education.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies, the governors in the House, the honorable members of the National Assembly, the honorable members of the Senate and the county assemblies, all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good morning. As you've heard, I'm Sabina Aroni, the Regional Director of Education. Together with the Regional Teacher Service Commission Director of the region, we put together something that we want to share with you. The Regional Director of the Teacher Service Commission is there. So the information I'm presenting, we shared and said we want to share it with you in this forum. First of all, allow me to appreciate the Deputy President for giving us an opportunity even to share information that is very key and that will go a long way to improve the service delivery in the education sector. So we are saying that this is what you know, that this is a ministry in the government, but we have a vision that is the quality and inclusive education, training, and research for sustainable development. We have a mission to provide, promote, coordinate competence-based, equitable, learner-centered education, training, and research for sustainable development. So I want to say that education, as all of us know, is key in the development of any society. But we are saying there would be issues like the drug use and abuse that may hinder the full realization of desired outcomes for all learners, because we said the government wants to provide education for all learners, may they be from poor backgrounds or rich backgrounds or whichever background they come from. So in specific, we are talking about the drug and substance abuse, and maybe want to ask ourselves, do we have this problem in our institutions? Want to say yes, especially when our learners transit to the secondary. Some of them go to schools with the drugs. Some of them are used by the parents and the other stakeholders to sell drugs. Some of them are also kind of affected. Sometimes we have learners in examination rooms, but because they have abused drugs, they are not able to write their examinations. Earlier, stated that education in Kenya is hierarchical. That is, whatever happens in the nursery school or the ECD will affect the outcomes up to university level. For that reason, we as education sector believe that education even starts before a child is born, from the what we call growth and development. Growth and development starts in the womb. The quality of the child who's conceived by an alcoholic is different from the quality of a child who's conceived by a non-alcoholic, for example. Therefore, as you see, let me not dwell on it. Let's go to the next slide where we want to dwell on. I want to comment three things: that we are affected by drug and substance abuse in three ways. That the three major stakeholders in education, that is the parents, the teacher, and the learner, are affected. The parent is the financier, is the role model, and at the same time is the person who will enable a child join early. Because if it's a youth can go to school without a parent through the support of others. But they may not be able to go early enough because their parent is an alcoholic. When, I'm sorry to mention this, but when we were going around to identify beneficiaries of Elimu scholarships, we went to some dens where a mother is drunk, totally drunk, a child is breastfeeding, a breast that has no milk. The mother is not aware. We have got into a room. We leave the room without, and we leave the child wanting to follow us, and the child we have gone to identify, not even having eaten even for 2-3 days in the house. So we are affected. The teachers are affected, and the learners are also affected. The perpetrators of gender-based violence, be they parents or teachers, in most cases it corresponds that they abuse drugs and substances, because a father in his normal senses cannot rape a daughter. But sometimes they do because they are under drug and substance abuse. So this is our enrollment. It entails both the public and the private schools. From 2019 to 20 data, we realized that there was a steady and impressive increase in Kiambu. We were maybe stipulating that Kiambu is cosmopolitan, meaning that maybe even people from other parts of Kenya are staying in Kiambu, or some people from Nyeri and other parts have moved to Kiambu. But other counties, especially the Nyeri, Nyandarua, and the Murang'a, recorded some drops at certain points. We also reasoned that in the 2020-2021, we had COVID-19. Maybe some parents withdrew their learners because they are young to stay home, and then they took them back to school for reasons we may not tell. We are only able to account for this information, but we are not able to say in the village what happened in the village to hinder learners from coming to school to enroll. Allow me to use the next slide to explain that Kiambu County registered steady increase, while the 4 counties registered noticeable decline at various points. Note the decline of Nyeri, for example, between 2022 and 2023, which is 5,649. Note the decline of Kirinyaga of 883 between 2019 and 2020. We also note the decline of Nyandarua from 2022 to 2023, which is 3,501. And then we also note for Muranga, which is 1,718. However, when we look at the primary school enrollments, the decline is marked in Muranga and Nyeri for the primary school enrollment. It's marked for Muranga and Nyeri. When we look at this, we were trying to see that are there learners who were in ECD and they didn't transit. We discovered no. It's like the effort and the support that was available to have the learners enroll at ECDE still supported them to do what? To continue with their primary school education. If we move to the recommendations, the Ministry of Education recognized that we have a problem with the drugs in schools. And we are told when we interviewed the secondary school learners, some of them tell us they started in standard 5. So as early as standard 5, they are abusing. So there is a policy that NACADA assisted the Ministry of Education to develop. It's our request, it's our recommendation that this, the implementation of the recommendations of that guideline be implemented with the county governments, ministries, departments, and agencies in collaboration. That the general public be sensitized on the adverse effects of drug and substance use and abuse on education. We also recommend mentorship programs for learners from homesteads affected by drugs and substance abuse, because the education sector does not want to lose any, even if they are drunkards. We are having a problem these days because we tell principals, we tell head teachers, you can't expel, because you expel them, they go to society. There is nowhere they are going to go, because if they go to society without education, they'll be worse. So there is a policy to handle them, but we request that if programs are in place to mentor them, so that we bring them back to the mainstream of education to complete their education. Then we request that there be established at least one rehabilitation facility in each county to cater for parents, teachers, and learners who are affected. We also recommend that further research be carried out, because we cannot explain these figures at school level. Further research be carried out to establish the cause of the decline. So I want to thank you very much. That is the end of the presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Regional Director Education in Nyeri County. Your Excellency, sir, we have 3 more presentations. With your kind permission, sir, and indulgence, I wish to seek that the presenters do it rather summatively so that we're able to save up on time as we also usher in our next session on the plenary, where we will be sharing our views and also having an opportunity to also air our questions. Kindly, if we may have the next presenter on children's services. Remember, may we kindly proceed to have our presentations summatively. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, our CS Interior, Your Excellencies, the governors, all protocols observed. My name is Kongo Mwaniki from the Directorate of Children's Services, and I will give a very, very brief presentation painting the image of the kind of children we see and the kind of ravages that drug and alcohol abuse has had on families, particularly in our region. Of course, those are our rights, and I want to do it summatively. Let's proceed. Next slide, please. Okay, parental responsibilities, of course, and what they are supposed to do. Next slide. Let's move up to where we have specific child protection issues. Let's move on, yes. So because of alcohol and drug abuse, what we've been witnessing is abandonments, particularly of toddlers and infants, and of course even older children in medical facilities and markets. Again, we have cases of abortion for parents who do not get support from their partners, and some who are also abusing the drugs. We have compromised health issues for children who do not complete immunization. Sexual and gender-based violence is a reality in our region. Cases of school dropout, Your Excellency, and an increase in the number of street children, particularly in our urban centers, and then cases of child labor, and extreme poverty in our households, HIV, AIDS, and STDs, including supergonorrhea, which has been found here in Nyeri the other day, and then children getting engaged in crimes. We have cases of children joining criminal gangs, that is tied to the first one, and even child marriages, cases of child marriages, Your Excellency. Then neglect of parental roles and responsibilities, early and premature deaths of parents and children. These are realities in our society. Increase in single parenthood. You realize that the former Central Province is leading in cases of single parenthood. And then children abusing alcohol and drugs due to exposure and availability. And exposure of children to defilement due to being left on their own, particularly in informal settlements, our slums. Early onset of sex among children, incestuous relationships, bestiality, and going against the laws of nature, the triple threat of teenage pregnancy, HIV, AIDS, and sexual-based violence, and misunderstood sexual orientation, whereby, for example, if a child is used to being defiled through anal, through oral, the child does not know which way to follow. So what are our recommendations? Let us make alcohol and drugs inaccessible to our society so that they are not easily available. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me call upon the DCI, Mr. Oburu, Central Region.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, our CS Interior, our Inspector General, Excellency Governors, Members of Parliament, all protocol observes. My name is Bethuel Waweru Oburu. I am the Regional DCI, Central Region. I'm just going to take you through a very quick slide on the effects of drugs and alcohol abuse in relation to crime. Because this is a societal problem, we have noticed that there's a relationship between abuse of alcohol, drugs, and certain crimes. So, as you can see there, we have homicides, and homicides include murder, and suicide. These are very prevalent. And if we had been allowed in that homicide category, I was wondering where to place sudden deaths, because we also get reports where people die after consumption of alcohol. Some people lose eyesight. So it would be important if we'd have heard the people from the Ministry of Health to give us that correlation between those deaths which occur. As you can see, in 2021, we had fewer cases than in 2022. So it's showing an increase. That is suicide, murders, which are very prevalent because of abuse of alcohol and drugs. Then you go to the second category of crimes, which is sexual gender-based violence. As my previous presenter has just alluded to, we have there rape, we have defilement of children, which is very prevalent. We have unnatural offenses. He has also mentioned that. But it is significant to note in 2021, we had 273. At 2022, you can see the increase. It shows that there's something which is going on. And already at this time of 2023, up to March, we're at 156. Where will we be at the end of this year? If we don't control the consumption of alcohol and drugs, Your Excellency, we might have a different problem in this year. In trafficking, we're talking about trafficking in hard substances, that is heroin, cannabis sativa, and other prohibited drugs. You can see in 2021, we had 981, but a significant increase in 2022. And right now, we're at 475, up to March. We have not concluded the year. Related to abuse of drugs and alcohol, we've had cases of arson where people go burning houses for no reason. They burn their parents' houses. These are the young boys and burning their houses of parents after a disagreement because of consumption of alcohol and drugs. Your Excellency, we need to address that issue. And I'm glad you've got our political leaders so they can see the effect. Illicit brews, those were cases reported. There was significant reduction, but it is increasing. Now we are at 168 as at March. We've got accidents when people drive vehicles under the influence. We can assume, but people drink and drive. And we're told when you drink milk or water when you're driving. 2022 is significant to me because it is a year when everything was getting higher, at 158. Most of these were fatal accidents, Your Excellency. So we need to address that issue. Another crime which is associated with alcohol abuse, Your Excellency, is assault. When people drink, they tend to fight. They maim themselves. Some will cut their fellow people, colleagues with knives. Some will fight, affray, because of disagreements in places of drinking. But the most significant thing to note here is, Your Excellency, that these people will graduate into bigger criminals in future. And there's one which I didn't put there, but I think I should mention, is the issue of mugging. Because muggings now is also related because when the young boys and girls don't have money, they start walking in the streets and mug people so that they get money to go and buy drugs and alcohol. Next slide, please. So what have we done? We have taken people to court, and you can see those are the cases. We have netted about a ton of bang. We have netted about 14,000 liters of illicit brews. We have taken so many people to court. And we are working closely with KRA and counterfeit agencies, and NACADA was here before, and also KEBS. The next slide. These are some of the banging which these are cannabis sativa, which we netted in various parts of the region. These are the second generation alcohol which have been seized. You see, they pack them in crates. You can think they're normal beer produced by either Kiroche or VIBL. But actually, these are, you can see the equipment they're using to distill and package. They've got the counterfeit stickers from KRA and most of those. So what are we intending to do? Some of these things we are doing are intelligence-led raids. But the most important thing I wanted to talk about here is sensitization. Your Excellency, it is important that religious